Could you just share a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I am the Vice President of Operations now of Speakeasy, Authority Marketing, and DocketWorks. I've been here for almost 9 years. I run the ILA program on our side with the International Licensed Attorneys. I vet them, onboard them, train them, get them matched up with their client and the customer service department, one of the CSRs. And that's about all I do. I've spent about 20 years, working with teams, helping them operate effectively, efficiently, helping them stay organized, helping, create systems and things like that.
What has your experience taught you about the role of organization, like the value it plays in success?
Well, every role I've had over the last 20 plus years has required a high level, of organization. I probably learned the importance of it earliest as an EMT in the Air Force. In that kind of environment, being organized is basically not about having a clean desk. You have to be focused, dial in, and able to follow processes and checklists because, the stakes are intense. If you miss something while assessing a patient, for example, the consequences could be dire. That mindset has carried into basically every position I've held since then, especially once I started working remote back in 2012. Remote work requires a different level of discipline. There's no one walking past your desk or stopping by your office to make sure you're staying on track. It takes, self-discipline. And what matters most is that, you have to be able to tell what matters most, what can wait, and who needs what from you at the time. And what I've learned is that organization is one of those things that often goes unnoticed when it's working well. If it's not working well, everyone can feel that it's missing. A well-organized team moves faster, can communicate better, makes fewer mistakes because people understand what the priorities are, what the processes are, and their role in the bigger picture in the business. So organization's basically about keeping things tidy. It's about creating enough clarity and people can do the right thing at the right time without everything feeling chaotic.
What does organization look like on a day-to-day basis when you're balancing multiple departments and competing priorities?
On a day-to-day basis, organization means constantly knowing what needs my attention right now, what needs follow-up, what can be scheduled for later. For both Speakeasy and DocketWorks, there are definitely different priorities and different client needs, different timelines, and they're all happening basically at the same time. So it's not enough to have just a to-do list. I have to understand the priority and impact of each item on the list. A lot of my role is making sure work doesn't sit in limbo. That means following up or clarifying, ownership, connecting people across different departments, making sure everybody has the information they need to keep moving and keep things going. This is true whether, it's a client-related issue or internal process, we're onboarding staff or making sure payroll and operational pieces and processes are lined up properly and getting done. The biggest thing I would say is staying flexible because priorities can change so quickly. I try to keep the larger list organized enough that when something urgent does come up, it doesn't completely derail everything else.
What are some of the earliest warning signs that a team or part of the business is becoming disorganized?
There are a few. One sign is when no one is completely sure who owns a task or a process. If multiple people think someone else is handling it or everyone's waiting for direction, that usually means the process isn't clear enough. Another sign is when the same questions keep coming up over and over. For instance, that usually tells me there's either no documented process, people don't know where it is, or they aren't clear on how they're supposed to use it. I've seen this happen in my experience with contracted vendors where there's either no documented process or unclear ownership over the processes that did exist. So when that happens, you start seeing like backlogs, duplicate work, handoffs get missed, frustration obviously on both sides. And then if it feels like for a team that everything that comes up is urgent, that's another sign, because every task is treated like an emergency and then priorities are not being managed well. So a healthy, team or organization should have room for like urgent issues, but the whole business can't properly run on urgency constantly, because then everybody gets stressed out and burned out. Basically when everyone is busy but no one's sure who owns that next step, that's usually a sign that the process needs attention.
How do you personally stay organized when there are so many, multiple things competing for your attention at once?
I use a combination of high tech and low tech, Google Tasks and a handwritten list. Google Tasks is where I put things like that I know that need to be done, but they don't necessarily need to be done today. So I assign those to specific days so they don't disappear, but they're also not cluttering up, my mind at the time or my immediate priority list. My handwritten list is more focused on the day in front of me. And I usually write down like the top 3 priority items that absolutely have to get done that day without question. We've all had a day where, it seems like all we did was put out fires that day. So these are the things that must get done regardless. The rest of the list goes, priority order, but I also know that list can change. In operations, you have to be flexible because something unexpected can come up and suddenly become the most important thing on your plate and you weren't even planning on it. I have a rule: always plan in pencil and never in pen, meaning I'm organized enough to know what needs to happen, but I'm flexible enough to shift when priorities change.
What organizational challenges do you think law firms face that other businesses may not experience to the same degree?
Well, attorneys, I think, are in a difficult position because they're not just doing one job. They're practicing law, managing their clients' expectations, dealing with deadlines. There's documents and drafting. Also, the whole business of running a business, overseeing staff, dealing with billing, payroll, things like that. So in a lot of businesses, operational, disorganization can be frustrating, but I think in a law firm, it can have major consequences because of deadlines and client communication, filings, court, they all matter to such a degree that one misstep can create a domino effect of issues for a case very quickly. Attorneys often, in my experience, they carry responsibilities that shouldn't necessarily be on their plate. They get pulled into admin work, appointment scheduling, following up with clients, filing, organizing documents, all the stuff that, is basically admin work that doesn't require the higher level education or practicing of law that they're really there to do. And this is where better structure and support can make a big difference.
How can delegating work to trusted team members help create a more organized and efficient law firm or business in general?
Definitely delegation creates breathing room, but it does it when it's done well. And that means, it's not just handing something off and hoping for the best. Good delegation means being clear about what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, what it looks like when it is done, what the expected outcome is, and what potential blockers might require, the attorney or, anybody else in the team to get involved so you can move forward. When work gets delegated to team members, the attorney can focus, or team members can focus more of their time on the work that truly requires, their experience and their judgment, what their best talents are. And in regards, to law firms, for instance, they can move more efficiently because those routine tasks like follow-ups and admin pieces aren't sitting and waiting for the attorney to have time. It creates consistency. So when the right person owns that task, there is a repeatable process behind it and the work becomes less chaotic. Everybody knows what they need to do and things just flow, more smoothly. Then when you get to the final point, somebody just can look it over and it's done and things move in a better order.
Where do international licensed attorneys fit into that equation, and how can they help attorneys bring more order to their practice?
The ILAs, international licensed attorneys, can be really valuable to the support structure if they're used correctly. They can help attorneys bring more order to their day-to-day work by taking on those tasks that need that consistency and follow-up, attention to detail, being organized. They're already attorneys, so they know. They've worked in firms before usually, so they are aware of the attention to detail that needs to be implemented in these cases. The key is for the attorney to be able to articulate, what they need help with, even if they don't always know exactly what that is. They'll know immediately, what they need help with, what things are bogging them down, and then we can help them unpack, those tasks that can be doled out and given to the ILA so they can help them. Sometimes they just know that they're overwhelmed, for instance. So from there, we can usually identify at least some portion of the work that the ILA can help with. That might be organizing information, helping with follow-ups, keeping track of tasks, calendaring, e-filing, things that don't require that, intense legal, analytical eyes on it, that the attorney would have to have for that upper level, like dealing with client and case type stuff. The goal is to complete as much of the task as possible, basically, so the attorney can take over and focus on that higher level work that only they can do.
What differences have you seen in firms that have effectively leveraged the ILAs?
The firms that use the ILAs well are usually good at communicating what they need. They may not have every task perfectly mapped out on day one, and that's okay, but they can articulate where they're losing time, what's slowing them down, what they need help keeping up with. When that communication is clear, the ILA can become a real support system instead of just another person added to the workflow for them. Over time, that can help the firm become more consistent. This way, tasks are followed up on, information's better organized, and the attorney has more space and time to focus on, client strategy and legal work.
How often is the real solution better support rather than just better personal organization?
Yeah, I think that's a common thought. It happens a lot. Many attorneys are already working hard and trying to stay organized when they, talk to us. So the issue is not always that they need another app or another checklist or another productivity kind of trick. Sometimes the real issue is just that too much work is sitting with them, with that one person. There's a difference between being disorganized and being overloaded. If an attorney's carrying, all the legal work and all the client communication, staff questions, admin tasks, scheduling, the problem is they need better support around them. It isn't personal organization.
If you could give an attorney one piece of advice if they're feeling overwhelmed and disorganized right now, what would you say?
I think my advice would be to look at whether your time is My advice would be to look at where your time is going. Ask yourself, is this the best use of my time? Whenever they're, performing a task. Not every important task has to be done by you. Some tasks are important because they keep the firm running, but that doesn't mean they require your direct involvement every time. So focus first on the work that brings the highest return for the time that you're investing. And that might be, legal strategy or client work, something that produces revenue for you, or decisions that truly require a lawyer's expertise, then look at the tasks that are necessary but could be supported by someone else. Better organization isn't just about doing more stuff. It's about creating a structure that lets you spend your time where it matters most. When attorneys build that right support around them, I've seen they're just not creating more organization. They're creating more room to serve their clients well, grow their firm, and hopefully have more of life, outside of work, doing something they enjoy. We've seen that happen before, and it would be great if it could happen for them.